Hello, Deep Six Wrestling fans, and here I am for the second night in a row. Your host, the glorious Robbie Rotten, and here we are. This is SummerSlam 2019, which took place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada tonight on August 11th, 2019. And I'm going to break down what happened. On the kickoff show, we had the Cruiserweight Championship match between Buddy Murphy and Oni Lorcan. And you know what? I was probably looking forward to this more than I normally look forward to cruiserweight matches because I've seen a lot of Oni's work in NXT, and he's a bruiser, and I know Gulak can be that way too. So I thought this was gonna be a really good, hard hitting match. And while it was a solid match, and they had a lot of good action, it wasn't really as hard hitting as I would have thought from these two. And the crowd was completely dead. So that really hurt the quality of the match. And it was still a solid match, but I expected a lot better. So it was solid, but missing a bit. And Gulak picks up the win with a torture rack neck breaker and retains his Cruiserweight Championship. And you know what? Fine way to kick off the kickoff show, I guess. Kick off the kickoff. So, whatever. It's fine for what it was. I can't complain that much. Next up, we had the. There was like a random match just put together, I guess, right before the show between Apollo Crews and Buddy Murphy. And the crowd was still completely dead for this one. But Buddy Murphy has a new theme song, and it's about time because he's had that same theme song he used with Blake and Murphy forever. So it's about time he had his own theme. And hopefully this means they're going to start pushing him as a single star. And we'll see. They had some pretty good stuff going early in the match. Good back and forth action. And then, out of nowhere, Rowan interrupts and just destroys Buddy Murphy, drawing the DQ win for Buddy Murphy. But Rowan continues to destroy him after the bell, I guess for ratting out Rowan to Roman Reigns on SmackDown as the one who attacked Roman and tried to kill him a couple times. What are you doing, Rowan? But yeah, I guess we'll see what this means going forward. Hopefully this means bigger things for Buddy going forward because he's got some spotlight here. But this wasn't really a complete match, so it's just going to get thrown out. I'm not going to even rate it at all because the match was fine. It didn't really have a conclusion. And then, finally, the final kickoff match was a women's tag team championship match between the champs, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, versus the Iconics. And yeah, most of the women in this match are not stellar in-ring workers. Nikki Cross is by far the best, but they worked okay. There were a couple of awkward moments, but it didn't really bring the whole match down. I thought it was fine for what it was. It wasn't meant to be this killer match between four, stellar workers. It was just meant to be what it was, and it was fine. Um, Alexa was actually wearing Buzz Lightyear themed gear, which I thought was really cool, as she's a big Disney fan, and it looked really cool. You don't see that very often, so it was good stuff. The the champs retain when Alexa Bliss wins with Twisted Bliss, and they celebrate their title win. And they kind of worked as the baby faces here, so that was interesting. But I would enjoy seeing Alexa as a babyface going forward, since she's been a heel for so long. It'd be interesting to see a change, so hopefully that happens. I don't know. We'll see. One thing I actually forgot to mention was in between Buddy Murphy and Apollo and the women's tag match, Elias came out and played a song about, just his typical stuff about how terrible Toronto is and all this stuff. And the crowd actually was really enjoying it until he said, he bashed the Maple Leafs for not winning a Stanley Cup, and he bashed the Blue Jays for their low attendance. And then finally, Edge's music hit, and wow, what a reaction he got. He looked great. He came out and he hit a spear, and it was just great to see him. Edge is probably my favorite wrestler of all time, so it was great to see him in his hometown, and he did a spear. It looked great. Elias sold it like a champ, and it was awesome. Just a great little segment. Thought I had to mention that there. And all right, let's kick off the main card. The first match of the main card was the Raw Women's Championship submission match between Becky Lynch and Natalya. And I wasn't really looking forward to this match too much coming in, but I thought they did a good job. I thought they did some pretty good chemistry, and both are obviously submission wrestlers, so at least it made sense to have them do this kind of match. And I thought it worked. I thought both worked really well together. Natalya had Becky locked in like a sharpshooter while she was Natalya was on the top rope, and Becky was like going under the rope, like to the post. It looked nasty. Looks like it really hurt. At one point, Becky locks Natalya in the sharpshooter, and then eventually Natalya reverses and she locks Becky in the disarmer. So that was cool that they were stealing each other's moves. And eventually Becky is going to get the win and retain with the disarmer, and Natalya's going to tap out. And I thought it was a really solid match. Great open to the regular show, and I'm going to give it a glorious. I thought it was really good, and I hope this was the end of their feud. I don't think their feud was really anything, but we'll see. I don't know what they're planning going forward, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we had Dolph Ziggler versus Goldberg. And this is exactly what you would expect. The match starts, and Ziggler hits a super kick for a 1 count, and then another super kick for what was maybe a 2 count, if even that. And then Goldberg gets up. Ziggler goes for another one, but Goldberg spears him, then hits a jackhammer for the 1, 2, 3, and the pin. And Goldberg starts to walk away. And Ziggler says that Goldberg's not a real man. He can't beat Ziggler in a real fight. So Goldberg comes back and spears Ziggler again. And Goldberg walks away and goes backstage. Ziggler gets the mic again and says the same thing. Goldberg comes all the way back and spears him again, absolutely destroying him with his 3rd spear. And finally, that's it. So, I'm not going to say I liked this, but I don't think it was too offensive either. I know a lot of people aren't fans of a legend coming back and taking time away from younger guys, but it's not like this was a 20-minute match. I don't know. I thought it was okay for what it was. I didn't hate this completely. So, whatever. Next up, we had the United States Championship match between AJ Styles with the Club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Sorry, the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, versus Ricochet, the Pride of Ireland. And these two have great chemistry, always have, and I always look forward to seeing their matches, always enjoy everything they do. And Ricochet is just insane. He actually, in the beginning of the match, all 4 men were outside the ring. Ricochet goes from the apron, walks on Anderson and Gallows' shoulders to hit a Hurricane Rana on Styles. It was awesome. There's another spot where on one leg he springboarded off the top rope and hit a clothesline on Styles as well. Just crazy stuff. Styles like stomps his leg out, stomps Ricochet's leg out, so he's selling that for a lot of the match. So he's acting like he lost a step, so there's good psychology there too. You know, Ricochet can do a little bit of everything. I mean, he's not the best talker, but everything else he is top tier. And it comes down to it, and the finish was amazing. Ricochet is going to go for the 630, but Anderson comes and distracts him a little bit. He kicks Anderson off the apron. He's going to go for it anyway. And Styles gets to his feet. So AJ's flipping, or Ricochet's flipping through the air. And Styles catches him in the Styles clash position. It hits it for the pin and the win. What a finish. Oh my God. You have to see this. It was just incredible. So AJ retains in a great match. Definitely a glorious and one of the better matches of the whole card, I think, for sure. Whew. Definitely go back and watch that finish. It's nuts. Next up, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship between Bayley and Ember Moon. I thought this was solid. I thought it would be a little bit better than it was. But you know what? I feel like the crowd was also kind of dead in this one. So that definitely hurt the quality for me. And I'm not surprised they were dead because they were just really into the last match with Styles and Ricochet. They were really into the Goldberg match because I don't know, they just love Goldberg. And they were pretty into the first match too. So I guess they were kind of drained and needed a break. So unfortunately, this match fell in that spot. And the two girls worked really hard. They had solid chemistry, I thought. I wouldn't mind seeing another match because they're both really good. But I guess there was just not really much they could do. Bayley was working more of the heel role. I mean, obviously she's not a heel, but she was working more in that role because somebody has to. So she was the ring general. And she did a good job. But again, the crowd was dead, so that really hurt the quality. Bayley wins with a super belly-to-belly suplex from the top rope and pins Ember Moon for 3, retaining her championship. And a solid match again. But it was just a little step off for me. I wouldn't mind seeing what they could do on another pay-per-view with more attention on the match itself, you know? So, okay. And next up we had Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. If Kevin Owens loses, he has to quit the WWE. And Kevin Owens comes out to a huge ovation. And, man, this guy's over. That's awesome. I love Kevin Owens. I'm so glad that he's in this position. And he definitely deserves it. And I think he's the right guy that could, if they want to go with him as one of the top, as like the top star, I think he can handle it. He's got the mic skills. He's got the ring skills. He's got everything. And Shane McMahon appoints Elias as a special guest enforcer. So that comes into play a few times during the match. Owens hits a pop-up powerbomb on Shane, and Elias actually pulls the ref out of the ring. And then Kevin Owens goes ahead and does like a suicide dive. Like not a suicide dive. It's like a top rope dive. And hits both Elias and the ref. So the ref's knocked out. And Owens absolutely decimates Elias with a steel chair. And he's going to hit Shane, but then the ref gets up. So he teases he's going to hit him, and he stops. The ref takes the chair away. And while the ref is not paying attention, Owens hits him with a low blow. And hits the stunner for the pin and the win. And Kevin Owens is not quitting. I thought the match was alright. I think it was a little overbooked with Elias out there. And I don't know, just that he had to hit the low blow to beat Shane was a little much too. But I guess the low blow was more of like a comeuppance type thing. But I thought it was pretty solid. You know, both guys did their part. And Elias is always a joy to have out there. So I thought it was fine. It wasn't a great match or anything, but it was a good segment. I enjoyed it. And I just love Kevin Owens, so I can't really go wrong there. Okay, and next up we had Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus, and I was definitely looking forward to this match because Charlotte is probably in my opinion, she is the greatest female wrestler of all time, currently and ever. And Trish Stratus is right up there. She is definitely up there as one of the greatest of all time, and she definitely innovated women's wrestling. Especially in that time period where there weren't a lot of real talents. It was basically her, Lita, and maybe a couple other women who were really good. So I was really interested to see this. This is a dream match for sure. And I think they really delivered. It started off a little slow and the crowd was a little quiet. but they really started to wake up about halfway through. They were really into everything Trish did, especially, but they just woke up for the whole match, and that really started to make it more special. Um, Trish actually does her own figure eight, which was awesome. It was a really good false finish. You thought that Charlotte might tap out, but she doesn't. And then Charlotte actually kicks out of both a Stratisfaction and a Chick Kick back to back, which were both really good false finishes. Because I thought this match could go either way. I really was rooting for Charlotte. Cause, I picked Charlotte in our predictions, but I really thought this could go either way. And they delivered. It was great. Charlotte wins by tapping out Trish to the figure eight in definitely one of the best matches of the night, and absolutely glorious. Just good stuff. If I had to recommend a match to watch on the whole show, it would probably be this one, just because it's something you've never seen before. It's not two people you've seen wrestle before, and it's a dream match. It was great, and it really delivered. So, absolutely 2 thumbs up for me. All right, and one of the matches I was most looking forward to going into this, the WWE title match between Kofi Kingston with the New Day and Randy Orton. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of disappointed. As the story going into it was really, really strong, but they worked kind of a slow, methodical match, and the crowd was really into it going in, and then they just kind of quieted down. And they were quiet for a lot of the middle portion of the match, and that really hurt it. It was good back and forth, and Randy started toying with Kofi at one point, which was kind of, showing how arrogant he is. And then Kofi comes back and starts to show Randy why he is the star he is right now. And, they're going at it, and of course, Randy Orton hits one of his RKOs out of nowhere when Kofi goes for a crossbody, but Randy catches him. But Kofi's smart; he rolls out of the ring, and Orton's a little frustrated. And then I don't even remember how this happened, but they were both fighting outside the ring, and all of a sudden it's just a double count out. And I don't know. I guess I thought there was going to be some kind of decisive finish in this, but there wasn't. And I guess it's all right, because they're going to go forward and have other matches. Hopefully those will be better than this. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't anything special, And I was really expecting a lot from this. And I think this was put in kind of a tough spot, too, because the next 2 matches are really anticipated. And the match before it was good, and it was really anticipated. So, kind of hard. What can you do? Kofi beats down Randy after the match with a kendo stick, absolutely annihilating him. So, this is going to continue, folks. We're going to see more of these 2 go at it. Hopefully those will not let us down, because Randy's a great challenger for Kofi, and Kofi has been a great champion, and he deserves to continue that run. Next up, we have, I think, my favorite moment of my favorite segment as a whole on the whole show. We had Finn Balor versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt. And I can just tell you that I have never been more excited to see Bray Wyatt come out. His entrance was amazing. The music was great. It was like a remix of his, it was like a really heavy start with the music, and then the vocals came in, and it was a remix of his old theme, Live in Fear, which is a fantastic theme, one of my favorite themes of all time. And it was just super creepy. His entrance was awesome. He had a lantern that was just like Bray Wyatt's head with like the light coming out of the mouth. It looked so cool. And just everything was amazing about this. The match itself was just meant to be a showcase for Bray, and it was perfect. Bray got in most of the offense. He dominated. Finn hit some stuff. He hit the sling blade, a couple of corner drop kicks. He went for coup de grace. And then Bray locked in the mandible claw as soon as he landed. And Balor he passed out. And Bray pinned him for the win. And what a fantastic showcase of The Fiend. If they keep up like this, he could be a main eventer for life. This is something that, in my opinion, has so much staying power and is just awesome. I love it. I loved everything about this. Absolutely glorious. And that's all I'm seeing about this online. Everybody loved it, and I just hope they continue to run with this exactly how they just did it. Awesome. Awesome stuff. And finally, that brings us to the main event, the Universal Championship match between Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. And this was actually probably one of Brock's best matches in the last few years. These two really delivered. It was worthy of the main event spot, in my opinion. A lot of fun stuff in this match. Brock goes for, a German suplex early, and Seth flips out of it, hits the stomp, and gets a near fall. But Brock kicks out, and then Lesnar hits an F5, and Rollins smartly rolls out of the ring. And the two kind of brawl around the ring for a while. Lesnar takes him to Suplex City. And then they get to a point where, I don't remember how he got there, but Rollins had Lesnar on the announce table and hits him with a frog splash through it from the top rope, which is always impressive when someone can make that jump and make it look like it hurts. And then they get back in the ring. Brock is trying to go back to Suplex City, and Seth hits him with a second stomp. Brock kicks out again, and Brock goes for a third stomp. Seth goes for a third stomp, and Brock gets him in the F5, but Seth is able to reverse and hit him with a super kick for the third stomp and pins Brock Lesnar squeaky clean in the middle of the ring. And I think this is probably the first time Brock Lesnar has been pinned squeaky clean in the middle of the ring with no shenanigans since Goldberg, I think. So Seth Rollins and Goldberg are the only two people to beat him squeaky clean, middle of the ring, no shenanigans, no interference, no nothing since he's returned. Can anyone else tell me anyone? Can anybody tell me anybody else that has beaten him squeaky clean, middle of the ring, no interference, no shenanigans, nothing? I don't think there's anybody but those two. So if there is, comment it, please. I really want to know. Just a really fun match, honestly. I think overall it was my favorite match of the night. I'm definitely going to give it a glorious. I'm a big Seth Rollins fan, so I was really excited to see Seth win the title back. And to get this win, this is a huge win for him. And you could see it in his face. He got really emotional. And he should. He's being trusted as the guy. And getting to beat Brock Lesnar that definitively is a big, big deal. And he should be proud. I thought overall SummerSlam was great. A really fun show. I don't think it was the best show of the year, but I thought it was good front to back. There were some ups and downs. There were a couple things that weren't great, but there was nothing inherently bad. So, great show, and I'm going to give it a glorious, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Comment on our videos. Comment here, please. If you like this video, comment and let me know. Like our videos. Go like us on Facebook at Deep Six Wrestling. Like us on Twitter. Not like us, because you can't like on Twitter. But follow us on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. And most importantly, have a glorious day.